What makes a perfect Mario Party game? To be more precise, what makes a perfect digital tabletop party game? Or the shorthand, DTDBG. Or as I like to call it, for sure. Well, we must understand what a DTDBG is to start with, which can be described as a video game that involves tabletop elements such as dice, cards, board/map based elements, and a system to tie them all together. And the party aspect is focusing on fun and fast-paced gameplay that is involved within it. For example, video game Monopoly wouldn't be a DTDBG due to the lack of a party feature, while SpongeBob's Lights Camera Pants would be seen as focusing on the party aspect without any tabletop design. What? You never heard of this shit? You better wake the F up. Yeah, that's right, I know about the real shit, real game. Just wait until I talk about fucking Yahtzee. Full House, mother. Some examples of what would actually qualify as a digital tabletop party game would be Pummel Party, Wii Party, Lego Party, Shrek Super Party. So I can see a trend of these naming schemes here. Moving along. To make a digital tabletop party game, one must understand certain aspects about what makes them good in terms of design and game structure. I have laid out the 4 foundations of DTDBGs that I'll call the DTDBG D4, or for short. I gotta work my naming system. On the D4, we shall look at each face on the die, starting with the face front and center, the tabletop system. For a Mario Party clone to succeed, the most important aspect front and center is the tabletop system. If that part is horrendous and or unplayable, what really is the point of playing it in the first place? And when I say horrendous, I more so mean not enjoyable. Sometimes a mindless experience that is funny will trump over one that is just ass. A strong tabletop system requires all the parts that make it up to be strong and support one another. Are the dice good? Does movement have any type of strategy to it, such as items, different routes, or options to control player agency? Another aspect of the tabletop system is how the internal design is board-centric. How much of the design is purely RNG versus planned movement? How punishing is the RNG? How funny is the RNG? At times, it is enjoyable to just have a game of random chance where things happen to you and you laugh, bust open some brewskis, and smack the homies around. But for people who desire some strategy in a game like this, then the reliance on RNG will fall through. There must be a balance between the two. Lego Party fails heavily on the tabletop system. Its board play is non-existent. Its pure RNG runs rampant, and its econ is just a mess. This leads us into our second phase of the D4, the party loop. The party loop is how well the win condition is established, and what it takes to achieve victory. Most party games do mini-games to accomplish this, where the group will play a game together, determine a winner, reward them finance, work towards a win con. Minigames can be anything from pure RNG in Mario Party 2 and 4's Bowser Big Blast, immense gamer literacy from Lego Party's Quick Bricks, a memory challenge from Mario Party 4's Order Up, throwing dollars in fucking Yahtzee. The win con gameplay loop is essential for the party aspect of the games, as it allows a higher involvement in the outcome of the tabletop system. The econ will function alongside board elements, such as buying items and services used to close large leads of experienced players. Even if someone is very good at the minigames, nothing is stopping the other players from forming a union to stage a strike to drain the wealthy capitalists in the first place, which plays heavily into the enjoyable chaos of the party loop D4 face. With a win con that is clear, it adds deep player agency to the ones who are winning and the ones who are losing. A game that struggles with this is Wii Party U, where in most modes like Fashion Plaza, the better gamers will almost always stay on top, because the econ is not part of those game systems. Just winning the mini-games allow you to reach a win con. Thus, winners will usually just remain uncontested, especially if most mini-games are designed mainly around skill. The next phase of the D4 talks about the charm and style, known as the vibe. The vibe consists of how polished the game is. Does it have charm and style? There are a lot of Mario Party clones that will imitate and take portions of the first 2 phases, but then it will fall flat on the 3rd phase. It is well established that the Nintendo polish has always been unmatched in Mario games. At times it does get too polished, however, like porcelain dolls coming with olive oil. Like is Birdo made out of fucking plastic or something? There must be a balance in the system to make the game not feel like an absolute drag, but still having an enjoyable personality and characters to relate to. Mario Party has this quite colorful cast that everyone can relate to. Even Anna has a favorite, which is Waluigi, for some reason.
You're my husbando, Brassaton. You wouldn't understand.
A game that really struggled with the vibe is Pummel Party. It looks like it feels, barren and clunky. Everything is low contrast and desaturated. It just gives no deep sense of joy while looking at it. The first two phases are decent, but the third phase is basically non-existent. The vibe phase is one of those foundations where a little bit goes a long way, with not that much effort either. But in game development, this is common to get lost in the coding and numbers and slip a bit on the aesthetic. But yes, a balance is needed for a good experience. The final phase of the D4 is not the most essential, but it does add a lot to the game experience. And it can make up for faults in the other phases at times. This is just called options, and it's as simple as the name. That's fucking options. Allowing control over the party, loop, and the tabletop system phases will bring a wider opportunity of enjoyment for all players. This can be as simple as control of the minigame selections, how many turns the game will last, even how much RNG do you want in the game. With the option phase, there can never be too many options. Some games even shine at this. Mario Party 4 allows control over every minigame that can even appear within the pools. Pummel Party allows control over that and even the board elements and item usage. A big fault with the later Mario Party entries is the dwindling access to the option phase. Nintendo has a deep love of removing player control over gameplay experiences, which is strange. Makes it feel like they think players cannot determine how to balance a game for their own enjoyment. But I digress. The option phase is a nice feature that isn't at all required if you just want to enjoy the game for what it is. A game. Certain digital tabletop party games will have the D4 balanced in various ways, stretching, distorting the dice to be not rollable. As mentioned, LEGO Party has phases 2 and 3 done quite well. However, the tabletop system is flawed and not balanced, with some fault in phase 2 and how wicked the econ is with the stud and gold brick costs. Even in the actual Mario Party collections, we had some that flopped, like Mario Party 9 and 10, who completely ditched their well-established phase 1 for a car? What the hell even is this? The mini stars? I'm just trying to hit dice and get coins, not play Final Fantasy 15.
Well, actually, you do hit dice.
Shut up! Get the fuck out of here! Then we have masterpieces like Shrek Super Party. And by masterpieces, I mean heaping piles of dung beetle manure. The system is shit, the party loop feels like a hernia, looks like that, and you shouldn't even expect there to be any options here. It's so ass that the only VA in the game is Chris Miller for the Magic Mirror, being paid for McRib and a Diet Coke, I assume. Michael J. Goh preferred a Whopper Jr. instead, and Mike Myers must have been too focused on crafting his award-winning performance for the Cat in the Hat live-action movie. Now, it wasn't all bad. Shrek Super Party did have an interesting system for the win con, with winning minigames to allow swapping the bugs for more points to earn, but yeah, this game sucked. We have an understanding now of the digital tabletop party game D4, or the if you will. Now, is there a game that has perfected all the faces of this D4 I present? Having a strong tabletop system, a pleasing and understood party loop, a cozy and pleasing vibe, and a variety and understanding of options. A game that executes most of those faces even better than Mario Party itself? What if I were to tell you there was? As you would assume 8 minutes into the video after reading the title. That game is known as Party Project. Party Project is a game that has executed the D4 to a high level of expertise. It took everything that Mario Party shined at and lathered it all in olive oil, giving it that glow. At a glance here, however, it kinda just looks like Mario Party, which I respond with this. Yes, the entire design of Party Project, developed by one who goes by Char, was based upon one principle: making the fastest Mario Party possible. With this internal directive, this led him to having a very important design foresight, understanding what makes Mario Party fun as a longtime player. Party Project takes all the Mario Party's mechanics and perfects them to an elevated state above even the most refined Mario Party games. To go over the basics of the game, it is exactly Mario Party. Play as a colorful cast to get coins and stars, play minigames, and roll dice to interact with board events. Char made the cast characters play in it with this quite endearing art style, but you can also add your own characters for it, which we'll get into later. Party Project takes the D4, interprets every face, and executes it to a level of studied perfection that requires you to experience it. We shall start with the first phase, the tabletop system. Because Party Project has imitated most of its game design from Mario Party, it gives them quite the edge in painting this face quite easily. However, it's that sharp wisdom that Char used to really find the balance between chaos and agency in the tabletop system. Many of the different Mario Parties have slightly different mechanics from each other. For example, in Mario Party 5, aka the worst one, they do not have item shops to buy items. But in every other one except Mario Party 1, 9, and 10, you can buy items. This method was done to experiment with the new system they brought into 5 called hexes. Another example that's more nuanced is how the slow dice roll item is balanced throughout the games. In Mario Party 6 and 7, the slow mushroom allowed you to pick your dice roll through a timing skill check. This was further balanced in Mario Party 8 with the slow go candy, changing those dice instead only allow 1 through 5 instead of the full 10 in Mario Party 6 and 7. This was because of how strong the item was. Char, Party Project, focused on all these small differences between each version to bring forth the best embodiment of Mario Party in the Party Project. It has hexes like in Mario Party 5 through 7. It's got Mario Party 2 and 3 skeleton keys and door mechanics. It's got item spaces and shops and free item pickups as seen from each entry. That addition of having all 3 variations of getting items allow for some amazingly clever board design. Party Project made its tabletop system extremely well designed because of what Char looked at on each version of Mario Party and other similar digital tabletop party games, noticing and observing all the best attributes of each party game and bringing them into his. Now, of course, this game is just copying what they have done to a T. However, when I was in music school as a young brass bot, I learned something interesting from one of my jazz professors. He said, "Good musicians borrow, great musicians steal." Granted, he was talking about improvisational soloing, but hey, Big Papa Mario is going to make their game perfect, so we might as well. Another point to discuss with the board design of the tabletop system, the RNG and chaos is still mighty good in this. There has been a focus on making the player agency very strong in this digital tabletop party game. The items give a lot of control of your character, and it is quite easy to get items in this game. However, what makes up for this is the immense chaos that the game allows still. Chance time is still around as good as ever. Hidden blocks are there and can be controlled to add even more chaos to them. The last 5 turns all have insane outcomes, and the balance spaces are almost always bad for the one who lands on them. There is even a punishment where if you land on it, and you have no coins but you have a star, he'll take that shit and give it the last place. This is hard. 10 out of 10. Great game. 9 out of 10. Yahtzee. Even with how strong player agency is within this digital tabletop party game, you can still never be too safe rolling the dice. Speaking on the RNG, let us see how well the party face was made. Party Project does the party face of the D4 quite well. And good. It's in the name. The minigame selection is very good. A lot of 4-player and 2v2 minigames are pulled from Mario Party. However, there are some other amazing pulls as well, such as Kirby and SpongeBob's Lights Camera Pants. Char also did a really good thing that other Mario Parties haven't done. Remove 1v3s. This is a strong method of balancing the game's economy as well as player agency balance, as 1v3s have had a notorious balancing problem for years in Mario Parties. I do have a philosophy of wondering if 1v3s are supposed to be unbalanced if you think about it, but only in the one's favor. But that argument doesn't have any legs to stand on. No legs. Video games don't have legs. We have some amazing pulls for minigames in every level. The 4-player minigames are all golden with strong instances of skill, RNG, and timing games. None of them drag on and none of them are annoying or really disappointing to get. The 2v2s are also really good as well. Probably some of the best ones that exist, like Speed Hockey and Reverse Bomb. Alongside those minigames, we have the duels. A lot of the duels were pulled from Mario Party 6, plus some other ones. Oh, as well as DDR. Hit this shit! With so many amazing minigames to pull from, the engagement aspect of the party face is quite strong. And in reference to how it affects the win con portion of the face, it also succeeds. Char uses a staggered win system with a good amount of minigames, where second and third still get some money winning in the minigames. This allows a more fairly balanced economy to achieve the win con. The win con, of course, is exactly the same as Mario Party. Get 20 coins, buy stars, more stars win, simple as that. Following this point, we get to the next phase, the vibe. The vibe of Party Project does lack a little bit. Out of the 4 phases, it does fall short the most. However, not anywhere as close as Public Party's lack of aesthetics. Due to the main principle Char used for making his digital tabletop party game of focusing on making the fastest Mario Party possible, it loses a lot of charm at times. There is little to no fluff in the game. Characters move very fast, board interactions are basically instant, and some minigames end as fast as they start. Now, the charm that is there is nice and makes it feel welcoming enough. The cast that Char used are very welcoming and give the game a decent identity outside of the Nintendo elements. A lot of the items are pulled straight from Mario Party. However, this is done for quick and easy readability for the item's purposes. You see a double dice and right away you go, oh, this gives me double the dice when I use it. Other elements need to use the Mario Party properties to make sense of other boards. This game has a lot of boards from the Mario Party series. Doesn't seem much to use Koopas for Koopa Banks or Whoopsie Wood Tree for the Bluesky wood tree. These could be changed and replaced with other of Char's characters, but then you might lose some readability within the tabletop system. That said, the original boards he does have are quite nice and offer a wonderful experience alongside the strong original design. Some of the boards are even part of collaboration with other creators, which is quite a beautiful thing. The host of the game, which can be seen, is known as Ghost, who is this quirky yet chaotic being that causes much mayhem. What's interesting is that she also serves as the Boo replacement in that game, acting as the one who steals your stars. One of the other original characters you see often is the Bowser replacement, known as Judge, who is the most villain-ass villain-coded motherfucker I've ever seen. And I want that hat.
The hat? Why?
I don't know, I want it. Give me the hat, Anna. These characters offer enough identity to the game that allows it to stand up enough to give it appeal. I also acknowledge that the art style is quite simple. It reminds me of the MS Paint era of art. Some may find this overly simple, but I enjoy it deeply. I've always been an advocate of simple design. I mean, look at me. I'm like, what, 30 polygons?
68 polygons to be precise.
Right. With the simple design, it allows for instant readability, as well as a kind of entry for anyone who wants to make their own characters. As channeling a similar style to the game allows for a wider entry of players to make designs of Pharaoh Seed and other inspirations, like the Mario cast that you've been looking at this whole video. Out of all the phases of the D4, the vibe is definitely the weakest, but because of what the game is trying to achieve, it actually is perfect for it. It falls in line with the speed design philosophy Char was aiming for in the first place. With the vibe phase explained, we look at the final and honestly greatest accomplishment the Party Project achieves: the best interpretation of the option phase. Party Project's design is driven from introspection and analysis. By taking so much inspiration from other digital tabletop party games, it allowed Char to give as much control of the board and game options as possible. The options for games are immense and really allow you to cater the game's experience to your liking. You can change everything. You can say how many turns you want, team games, star spawn order, lucky minigame chance, how battle minigames are selected, dual coin amounts, how spin roulettes work for items, chance times, etc., hidden block spawns and what can appear in them, how items work together, how many and what bonus stars can appear at the end of the game. You can decide what type of minigames appear. Hell, you can make a custom minigame set to just exclude 1 or 2 minigames you hate. The only Mario Party that does this is Mario Party 4, by the way. The option phase of this game is so immense. You can create completely original games with these options alone. It is actually amazing to witness what brings this game to the forefront. The fact that this is better than even Mario Party itself with the options you have here is immense and just spectacular. Another aspect I would add to the options phase is personalization. There are a good amount of boards that you can play on with a couple cast of characters that Char and the team made. However, you can make boards in this game. And I'm not talking about, I gotta code the board space path and then adjust the ZY ratio to place spacing. No, you can easily make boards. There is another tool that was made that allows you to make custom boards to play on through a map editor-like program. It is very intuitive to use and gives you so many choices to make a board that you can be proud of. I've seen so many amazing boards like other Mario Party boards that weren't added, Monopoly, a romp through Ronald McDonald Land, that one train playmat that every kid had. Well, anyways, the only limit to what fun boards that can be played is your own mind. The options of personalization is immense and wonderful. And with that, we know the 4 phases of the digital tabletop party game D4. And we see how well Char was able to execute those principles to make his version of Mario Party the best version that could possibly exist. However, there are some aspects of this game that do miss the mark a bit. One nitpick that I have is the CPU AI in this game. No matter what level you put them to, they range from Chad task levels execution to code running on a thrifted Cuisinart 2-slide toaster. There are some minigames where if you play them with computer players, they will play so perfectly that you can't even attempt to participate. Look, just watch this clock minigame.
Alright. 15? Okay. 120. Yep, I missed. That's fine. 160, it's like an hour and then, well, 9. Cool. 30. Nope. Alright. That's fine. It's whatever. It's fine. It's like an hour, alright. Cool. Great. Great. Cool. Yeah, whatever. 60.
There There are a handful of other mini-games that were just auto wins for CPUs due to this. Many of them would succeed with perfect execution, or at least a level that can't be competed with. While others make me feel bad, like to the point where I was like, what's the point of even me playing? The standpoint is a good example of this. You always just completely wipe them. In addition, the computer logic tends to break on the board as well. Something I noticed is that they tend to just target players almost always. There are a few instances where they will target the person in first, which is good. But other times, I've been in a soft second and third. And I'll have a whole room gaking me, mate. This happens at times on the minigames too, to the point where it's more of a detriment to the CPUs to lose than it is for me to win. I assume coding CPU logic is not easy, but if it is written for them to target players over winning, then it is quite obvious that that's what they're trying to do. Also with board interactions, the CPUs will simply not play correctly. For instance, there was a board they made based on Snowflake Lake from Mario Party 6, which requires you to buy chain chomps to go around and crush players to take their stars. It's quite fun mechanic. However, the CPUs will always say, no, and walk past it. So playing this board with CPUs is impossible. And you will always win, so yeah, not very fun. Another gripe with the CPUs on the boards, there are many times where instead of them going for the star, aka, you know, the win con, they will instead just loop around a circle, farming the shop over and over, which is not a great strat, especially on most boards where there are other ways to get money other than mini games by interacting with the board events. They tend to just kind of jerk off in a circle, go in the shop. Yeah, it's not good. It's bad. They're not gonna win like that. Also, small gripe, but in the DDR minigame, can someone explain to me how I'm supposed to do this? Party Project can be played with a controller, but what is this? I see this combo and my brain snaps in half as I stare at my fucking joystick and smack around like a terminal montage character. Like, how do I do this? Why is this an option? My keyboard fine, but I'm not playing with keyboard. I can't fucking do it. I gotta hit the D-pad and the joystick. I guess I just fucking eat it as my opponent dances on my grave to Deja Vu's Trip Machine Evolution. Stop, please, God, help! No, please, stop. Good game, though. There was only one other complaint I had with the game, and it's honestly a pretty impactful one that I understand. Party Project has no online functionality. The only way to play with actual players is either everyone playing it in person or through a system like Parsec that lets you connect to others' computers to play it. Parsec is intuitive, but it wouldn't be as good as just straight up an online functionality. It is understandable why this isn't an actual thing though for the game. It was designed from the bottom up as an itch.io game, showcasing the knowledge and idea of making a game through a system like that. Having online functions with this game also is a surefire way to get Big Papa Mario on your ass as well. With this game existing in its quiet, passionate corner over the internet without that function, I think it'll exist much more peacefully. It does make the CPU AI problem much worse, however, as playing with other players not as easy as one would like. But in theory, you could just disable the minigames and comms and bust it at, but that only puts a bandage on a broken bone. With those two nitpicks aside, Party Project showcased itself as a perfect clone of Mario Party, with a tabletop system that is designed immaculately, a minigame selection one could only dream of, a charming cute aesthetic, and more options than a car dealership. Party Project is a force to be reckoned with within the digital tabletop party game scene. And with the amount of customization in the game, and even the ability to edit the game files, you can make a completely different game out of it. So I did. But that is for next time, my friends. See you in the next transmission. Brassaton, Deactivate.
Hey, it's Brassaton here. If you enjoyed this video and made it this far, consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It really does help out and mean a lot to me. And if you want more Brassaton goodness, consider going to Twitch. I stream every Thursday evening at 7 PM PDT. I look forward to seeing you there. And one final thing, what's a digital tabletop party game that you know of that I didn't talk about in this video? Teach you something good, why don't you? Brassaton out.